be in war-torn zones. We teach them from very young to obey laws and to obey all of the rules of the country. And then they're trained to be soldiers, and then they're asked to discard everything they've been taught all of their lives, and at a command to kill. So it often goes through my mind, what must go on in their minds when they have to shed the trappings of civility and, go into a war-torn country. So it's with that in mind that I wrote the following, and I call this Mothers Do Mourn. I read the words of man's history, written down long ago, of battles that raged across the world as the sea's tides did ebb and flow. I listened closely to thoughts of men and watched the battles unfold, but little was learned in eons of time. Loss of life grew to levels untold. Echoes in time, the battle cries heard, and lines were drawn in the sand. Warning bells sounded and ignored and unheard, and groups of men together did band. They muted the clash of steel on steel, and fire dropped from the sky. The gauntlet was thrown, the bells did peal, for revenge, an eye for an eye. Men saw the forging of iron wills, and secret plans were created. Men sent off to scour the hills to search for the man most hated. False promises and lying words, minds plotted, gave rise to invasion. A foreign country and its people now bear the brunt of his gift of persuasion. In his address to the nation, he gave no apology. Where scant years before to his people he swore, they have not the technology. Weapons of mass destruction were sought. He swore no clemency, not found, there was no evidence, forsook diplomacy. He turned to the people, his heart was hardened, he shook his fist in the air. Trust me, he said, I know they are there, and our fight is fair. Then under the guise of darkness, another plan was hatched, and then he proceeded to turn the press as the world looked on and watched. Ships then set sail on stormy seas and on far-off shores came to rest, loaded with men, their bulging arms, flexing their necks, the best of the best. Unloaded their weapons, set for destruction, and once there did wait for instruction. Once given the nod, all said and done, the invader promised reconstruction. Now sounds of thunder roar through the sky as the bombs reached their destinations. Discarded their oaths pledged in membership, they belonged to the United Nations. Like the broken treaties and peace accords with Indian nations long past, when double-edged words and razor's-edged swords ensured that the die was cast. In the time of the man called Yellow Hair, a nation downtrodden and crushed, women and children a burden to bear, onto reservations were pushed. When blankets were given a people for warmth, held the secret ingredient of death, and as before, mothers do mourn as their children take their last breath. Echoes of times gone by, now present, caused by another great clash. Men rise up, everyone braces, set are they for backlash. A mighty man's words fired a nation, and they fed on the flames of wrath. Embers were stoked with the bones of the dead, and fires blazed a new path. Painted with blood of the people, their bodies grew cold on the ground. The spark that once lit their lives, blunted, disposed, not found. And of their land were dispossessed, deposed also with their leadership. While gunfire blazed all around, a nation pledged its kinship. And many more lives were lost as they hustled, and people flocked in the rush to follow the ranting, the eye of the eagle, in the land of the burning bush. From time to time, in the name of religion, lands torn asunder by fire, unfounded claims and empty fines only caused to increase this man's ire. The decision made, he then wielded the lash and cracked the whip with power, took the bull by the horns, through stubbornness sworn, now the man of the hour. Hungry and greedy for riches of lands and barrels of oil did he plunder, and through his greed and quest for more, he did tear a land asunder. The wheel set in motion, the glutton did forge a plan to lay waste a nation, a well-trodden path in the valley of greed to the sound of Halliburton's oration. History needs to repeat its seams despite the best efforts of young, while mothers and lands near and far do mourn the death of their young. Over yonder hills the battle did rage, and warring men did swarm, where a while ago they spent several weeks battling the long desert storm. Go and forage and search the land, commanded the old burning bush, and now once again do warring men rush and look to that nation to crush. Everyone loses, men fall to the ground and are cradled in the arms of the grave, while the man of power from his place in White Tower continues to rant and to rave. Though the loss of lifeblood does not deter nor turn his mind from the fight, nor does it quench his thirst for blood, he feeds on power and might. To play the game and sacrifice men's lives, pawns on the checkered board, both sides. He gathers the world posse, and on their backs, bored knights in his service he rides. The mighty man to the world if he berates, do it my way or else, he dictates. No matter the lies or half-truths he utters, his cause is just, or so he states. Like men of old, through power and might, who stained the fields and bloodied them red, again we find mothers who mourn, their children lay dead, more tears are shed. Unease, unrest, hate, and intolerance, both sides seated and sown take root. Lives torn apart and innocence slain, fragile peace dies under the boot. Marched on and found nothing, then claimed to fight for the people we must ensure their rights, and demolished homes and neighborhoods, and then he continued, ignored their plights. He swore an oath and riddled the land with a hail of bullets while bombs did rain. Screams howled in the wind and curdled the blood, the death toll mounted again. The fruit of the land, once prized and luscious, now shriveled and abhorrent, now despised, rights are discarded just so that his spleen might vent. He bared his teeth, honed razor sharp on splintered and naked bones of the innocent caught in the crossfire, and overhead on flew the drones. Trapped by the silken strands of thought, woven into the spider's web, through hidden intentions the currents torment, fear rises, does not ebb. This man's edicts and actions decreed, a ripple effect gathered strength and speed. The web of deceit spins out of control, a new trap created by passion and greed. A witch hunt continues, the cauldron bubbles, it boils and when stirred, emotional troubles, burning the hearts of mothers who mourn their children life from whom was torn. Lessons once learned, now lost in the haze, while fires rage through the bush. Into the mind of man he dictates his rule, follow me, or I'll push. In a battle-worn world, the gap widens the distance, and the causeways flood with tears. Brother to brother, much life is lost, causes bled throughout the years. History repeats, how many times have we seen that bloodshed causes division? How many must die? How long shall it be? When shall we cease this derision? Must we pave the road with corruption and hate, drive a wedge through the core of the earth, and breach the heart of a nation that erupts from much slandered worth? Gather the skeletal remains of that land. Children lay dead, fell by the guns and their bullets. Earth-shaking battle tanks roll like thunder, while warships sail into the inlets. Shattered lives, shell-shocked people, gathered together a herd. And once again, through battle cries, the beat of the drum is heard. The warning bell sounded, but were ignored, only to fall on deaf ears. And to this day, they still remain unheard 1,000 years. How many times must this world be divided, and when will our hearts conquer strife? When will this world heed the cries of its mothers who brought forth to the world all life? To spare their lost efforts in birthing the world at the mercy of hope.